Welcome to Everest Productions. The stream will begin shortly.
Hello, everyone. Well, if there's some people talking today, um, it's me again. I don't usually stream on Thursday, but I felt, I have a clear afternoon. I got a good hour. We're gonna talk about, oh boy, we're gonna talk about Ahsoka, episodes 4 and 5. But again, today will be my review of Ahsoka episodes 4 and 5. We're gonna talk about it. Hello there, Phil TMNT. How you doing? Hello, Jungle Blazers. How you doing? Welcome to the chat, fellas. We're gonna be talking about Ahsoka episode 4 and 5. Giving my thoughts. I don't remember if I talked about episode 3. Is that on the last stream? But I kind of found I think I said I found episode 3 okay, but really nothing burger. Hello there, Shadow Fast. How you doing? Just a quick recap of how I felt about episode 3. It had some nice action. I wasn't enthusiastic by it. Pretty much it was too short, and voila, there we go. But I didn't think it was necessarily a bad episode. More like in the middle. Again, nothing burger, as I said. But now we're talking about Ahsoka episode 4 and 5, which people have been praising to the heavens as the return to Star Wars, the George Lucas Star Wars. It's back. It's back, fellas. You better pack it up, because George Lucas is back in the spirit of Dave. Wait, no, it's Dave Filoni has the spirit of George Lucas. I don't know. But Of course, there's the big things that people have been talking about. There's also the mundane things people have not been talking about. But I'm going to just dig in here with a big old knife and get the wound out and talk about it. So let's start with Ahsoka episode 4. And people have been wanting to get my thoughts on it. Let me see if I can find some screen caps. What I hate about, I wish people would start using screen caps when they're going to do their screen caps. If they're going to do talking about, these shows and stuff. All right. So the big one we're going to be talking about is episode 5. I could gain more subs. I could lose subs today. I don't know. It's all opinion. Don't take it personally, but let's talk about Ahsoka episode 4. So Ahsoka and Sabine go to the planet. They need to get the map from Bylon and Shin and the Night Sister, who are playing. If you've seen it, I think, but they're going to. Let me get the screen caps here. There we go. They're going to get the map from Shin, or Balon, and try to stop them from using the big device to go to the other galaxy to fetch Thrawn. So I want to say that of all the episodes, I thought the show was bland and boring, and besides maybe episode 3 had some enjoyment. There was maybe some scenes, but there was something about this episode, and frankly, I don't know how to I don't know if it's the direction or the cinematography or the way things are shot, or I don't necessarily, and the writing's forgettable for the most part. But this episode, I was intrigued by it. For some reason, I found it very solid, and I know it's shocking. And I think it comes to that. Oh man. I feel like I actually can't remember a single thing from the dialogue from this episode. I can tell you what happens, but I can't remember anything they say other than what Ray Stevenson says during their fight. The best thing about this show is Ray Stevenson. I'm going to say it out loud. He's the star of the show. Rest his soul. I think he should have done. If they kill him off in this show, it's going to be sad. But he has a presence in this show. He has a presence in the show that it gives it legitimacy. Legitimacy is the best I can. But so they need to fix the ship, and they get Huang to go out. And it's kind of like spooky vibes because they're in this forest, and where is he? And Huang is attacked by a robot, one of the droids. And he uses the ship to malfunction. He basically damages the ship to alert Ahsoka that the Shin and or her assassin droids are onto them. We get so then. Okay, another thing I want to talk about. in this show. Let me see if I can get a. Let me see if I can get a. So I complained about the Neopixel sabers and stuff. In this episode, I can't. The lightsabers are pretty decent. I don't know how to like. I don't know how to like explain it, but I like the lighting on the lightsabers in this episode. I like the lighting in the show. I think this episode is really solid for the most part. Shin and Ahsoka have a really cool. Oh wait, hold on. Let's talk about Big General Miss General Ass Dula here. So she gathers she gathers her forces like Carson Tiva and a private like X-Wing force to go after Ahsoka and them to go after Ahsoka and their group to the how can I say it? Go to the planet they're on. Yeah. Sorry. My mind's not in it today. But and then, we get some Syndulla-isms where she's like, "Oh, well, just tell the forces that, I just to basically just to throw them off for a loop while she does this while she goes on her personal mission to rescue Sabine and Ahsoka. I know. Balon sends Shin. Look at this. Hold on. You gotta look at the cinematography in this episode. I think this episode was, what are the chances Mando will show up? 0. I don't think Mando will not show up at all. But prove me wrong. But I would be surprised if the show proves me wrong. For some reason, it's this episode that it just, there's a beauty to it. I don't know if it's the direct. I haven't seen anything like pure and well shot in Star Wars in a while since Andor, and it is this episode. The person who directed this was Peter Ramsey, who also directed Into the Spider-Verse, the animated film. I gotta applaud Peter Ramsey. He did a very good job. Like the way things are framed and shot. Maybe he should have directed this whole show. It would have hid the fact that this show is cheesy. So Shin and Sabine, they both have duels. Ahsoka battles the Inquisitor something. For the first time ever. So for the first time ever, since the prequel films, I've actually found the lightsabers battle in the show, pretty good. It's pretty damn decent in my opinion. It's the way it's shot, the way it's the way it flows, it's paced. Now, granted, I don't really care about Sabine being a Jedi because I never felt she was a Jedi in the first place. But even her battle is pretty well shot. And it's actually a testament, that I'm quite Like, I don't know if it was Filoni or the. And look at this. Compare this episode with the Filoni stuff from episode 1. It doesn't feel. It actually feels like the lightsaber lighting is just. It's way better in this episode. Hold on. Let me look at this shot right here. Um, yeah, I don't know why, but I'm praising an Ahsoka episode. I'm very surprised. Yeah, look at that. I used to complain it's NeoPixel, it looks fake, and blah blah blah. But in this episode, for some reason, it just flows. I don't know if it's the director or Dave Filoni that had like overlooked this, but um, finally we get the best fight scene in a. I can't believe I'm getting him credit. The best fight scene in a Star Wars show that for the last few um for the last few we get the battle between Shin and Ahsoka. Now I've the way this fight is, I think it's like Kurosawa. The way it's framed, the way the characters interact with each other. There there is the dialogue from Ray Stevenson. Again, Ray Stevenson is the one that really makes this show for the most part. Um, but I feel an energy in this episode compared to anything I've watched. You know, when compare this to the slow moments in episode 1 and 2. Yes, I am. Compare this to the episodes in Ahsoka 1 and 2 where when it's paced and there's long takes, you don't feel a resonance. It just feels like trying to trying to emulate George Lucas's style of things. The thing is, George Lucas had an essence to it. He had a kind of a rhythm when it came to the here, the way it's framed, the way it's shot, the way it's written. I would even give the writing credit, and the way it's acted. It is perfect. I think it is perfect, and it meshes well together. And then we get the fight scene. We do get the kind of like Kurosawa fight scene between Ahsoka and Baylan, and it's very well shot too. Um, I don't. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with this episode. I can't. I don't know what to say. It is. It's not a return to George Lucas Star Wars, but it is kind of finding that new foothold I felt Andor put in this episode. I'm not referring to the rest of the show. I still think the first few episodes of the show is bland, boring, forgettable, but it is finding its resonance. But I really think it's mainly the director they got for it. It's not Dave Filoni. There's no goofy moments in this episode. There is a flow, although there is some character contradictions coming out when we talk about. But let's basically. Sabine appears, and she. Sabine. Okay, let's see if I can. So Sabine, she gets the map and but Balin defeats Ahsoka. Um, and Balin actually, something I really liked. Balin actually convinces Sabine to stop it because she wants Ezra Bridger back, and she does. Now you could say that's contradictory, but the way Ray Stevenson, does his lines, and also the fact that they don't kill her because the Shin tries to kill her, and Ray Stevenson stops her and says, "No, I kept her my word. I gave her my word that we would not harm her." That is a very respectful villain trait, and I like that. I really like that a lot. Um, so Ahsoka falls into the sea. Sabine gives in to Balin, kind of a dark side thing. But is she really a Jedi? I don't know. Oh, I forgot to say that Sabine wins her fight against Shin. The villains manage to turn on their space ring. Hera arrives with her ships. The villains take Sabine to the other galaxy, and they miss the villains, and the villains kind of win in this episode, which is kind of a good change of pace. Um, so, uh, and then we get the final scene, which is well shot too. Ahsoka basically is in a dream, like it's the world between worlds, but not really. It's kind of like a dream-like state where she's in, and she hears the words "Hey Snips," and of course, guess who it is? It's Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, and he looks pretty good. Can't argue against it. Quick question: what do you think if Ahsoka and Anakin switch places? As in Ahsoka being the teacher, then joins the dark side, and Anakin being the student, but still the chosen one, joins the Ghost Crew. That actually might be interesting. Like like what context? Like if he never turned, or if they left the world between worlds, or this dream meditate. I don't think this is the world between worlds. I think it's just he's dreaming in episode 5. All right. So episode 4. Episode 4. I'm gonna give it episode 4 gets a 9 out of 10 compared to the week episodes, which episode 1 I give a 5, and episode 2 I give a 6. Episode 3 I give a 7, and then episode 4 I give a 9. It is the best. I think it's the best episode since Andor of Star Wars we've gotten. Episode 4 in particular. Um, I have nothing but praises for episode 4. I think it's the direction. The direction for the show elevated the writing, in my opinion. It's kind of hard. It's kind of shocking. I know, shocking. Um, uh, I don't agree with people that this is the return of George Lucas Star Wars. I think they need to stop sniffing the death sticks. I still think Andor is the way Star Wars should be, but this is kind of finding the way things Andor found. This episode in particular, the way the whole show should have found the whole show. If they make a season 2, they just should follow this episode as an example of how to pace your stuff, elevate it, whatever. So episode 4 is a 9 out of 10. Eat my heart out. Now for the one everyone's been talking about, episode 5. Woohoo! The one people have been creaming their pants over. The one people say, "Oh boy, Anakin, Hayden Christensen." And again, welcome everyone. Anything Star Wars and Marvel. Hello, anything Star Wars and Marvel. Again, if you're joining us, I was talking about episode 4 of Ahsoka. I give it a 9 out of 10. Now we're talking about episode 5. And I think this is Shadow Warrior, and the last one was Fallen Jedi. I kind of think they should have really switched those titles because they make no sense in the context of things. But let's talk about the one people have creamed their pants over. They've frothed at the mouth. Shadow Warrior. So let me see if I can find it. Okay, so Hera. All right, so Hera arrives with her son and Chopper to the planet with her team. They find out they don't understand what happened at the battle. They don't know anything. It's kind of like everyone's like, ooh. Huang, he's like, he says, he says this. I like this. He says, "I told them to stick together, but they never listen." Yes, I did not enjoy season episodes 1 and 2 either. But let's get into episode 5. Um, so after that, we cut to they look at the ocean, and then we cut to Ahsoka and Anakin reconnecting within the world between worlds. Although I do think it's a dream world. Um, Maybe a forest dream. I don't know. But they pretty much talk about stuff, and Anakin's like, "Well, I'm going to teach you my final lesson." I know. I should say the Anakin stuff isn't really that long in this episode. I would say it's maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't know. I was kind of disappointed. I will say they did fix one big thing, and I have that against Kenobi. The de-aging is so much better. Let me see. I don't know if they did deep fakes or CGI. Maybe they did makeup, but he looks pretty close to how he did in Revenge of the Sith. Can't complain. Although I could argue that's a wig. Let me see if I can bring it up. There we go. There he is. There's everyone's favorite hero. So Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen, not CGI, not it is actually him. So Ahsoka and then talk, and Ahsoka and Anakin have a duel. I really think Ahsoka's excited to see her old master, and the fight scene between them is pretty well done. Oh man, just seeing Anakin like Hayden again, and he's doing his like way of walking and fighting and stuff. It really is nice to see. Well, you can. Okay, well here now you can start noticing. Uh, Here you can start noticing the NeoPixel stuff, but I think there's so much CGI that you can't notice at times. I don't know. All right, well, let's talk about the bad stuff in this episode. So Hera keeps, stalling the Republic for what they're doing, and Jason he senses the ocean. He can sense the battle. And I'm like, what? Well, for one, how is there a battle in the ocean? I thought this was a dream. I guess she kind of she she fell on her ass in the world between worlds. It makes no sense. But so she senses the ocean, and Hera understands and that Ahsoka might have fallen in the ocean, and she forces her X-wing people to go after and look search the water. Meanwhile, we continue on with the Ahsoka stuff. Ahsoka fights Anakin, but she gets a little too confident, and of course, Anakin. One of the things Anakin keeps saying is "live or die." I think live or die. I'm gonna be honest. Like the lesson in this episode, at times made no sense. Is she is a Hold on, let me. What the? Hold on. What the hell is what his eye? His eye is bulging. Is that him? How could Anakin be able to? I think it was a dream, but I don't know what is wrong with his eye. What's wrong with his face? What is that? That's not a good angle. Uh, no, 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 no. What the fuck did they do? What's wrong with his face? It's like all chubby. Well, I said I don't care about this. I haven't said anything bad. I haven't given you my negatives yet, my guy. Please sit down and watch. I talked about my positives with episode 4. So can't do it. What's wrong with his cheeks? I don't think they filmed that at the right angle. They did not film that at the right angle. Oh my. All right, let's talk about. Sure, the episode. Let me hold on. Sure, the episode isn't perfect, but it felt nice to have an episode close to George Lucas era of Star Wars. Besides anything else we got from Disney, Star Wars canon timeline. That sentence doesn't really make sense in the era of things. I will get back to that one. I liked everything with episode 5 and episode 4. I hope the other galaxy has Red Catan Empire Yuzong Vong. I love your channel. Thank you, Starlight. And I love your is that Ravon? Keanu Reeves is Ravon. I love your app. I'm sorry. I totally got distracted by the horrible. not the weird angle the face Anakin has. It's just he's got chubby cheeks. So we get probably the most interesting, although I shouldn't really say the probably the one everyone's been frothing at the mouth for. Um, it's the flashbacks with in the Clone Wars with hold on. I'm really glad they got okay. So to get the Clone Wars flashbacks, they're more creative, licensed though. They're using like dust and stuff to cover up. It's not. I give it a pass though. But basically, it's the Battle of Typh. Um, Ahsoka turns into a little child played by Ariana Greenblatt. If you've seen the Barbie movie, I've not seen it. She was also a Lil Gamora in Avengers: Infinity War. If you guys have seen that movie, but the I also want to say this. This is my opinion. Okay, I've told people, listen, I this is just my opinion. People don't have to get angry about it, but if well, I'm good. You feel that way. Again, I'm not done reviewing the episode. Uh, so Anakin's like going through the motions and trying to get a message across to Ahsoka using flashbacks, I guess. Um, to be honest, I might need to. I think I've rewatched this scene a couple times, and I'm still trying to get the justification of doing this Clone Wars stuff. But you know what? It does the purpose, and it does do the purpose. There's a nice scene where Lil Ahsoka is like, "Why do people fight in war?" etc. etc. And there's a nice scene where Anakin does address that. By the way, I think I pointed it out already. I really like that he actually had a haircut for Clone Wars Ahsoka, or not Clone Wars Ahsoka. No, this is Ryloth, not Typh. For Anakin. Ugh, blah, blah, blah. Of course, everyone has an opinion. I'm glad you have it. Please, please. I want people to give their opinions as well. I'm glad you're giving me your opinion. Um, so I mean, there's a nice scene with Ahsoka where they're talking and stuff. I still, and then it kind of jumps to the Battle of Mandalore. Gonna skip some of this stuff. Hera's looking for him again. I'm looking for the screen caps. I really like this scene. Uh, although I do want to say I have the cinematography is pretty good in this one for the most part. Again, I think the whole dust stuff is creative, and plus it's cheaper to instead of showing like the whole Battle of Mandalore. Let me see if I can get a good screenshot. Here it is. Here it is. Ariana Greenblatt is still older. Now she's season 7 Ahsoka. Here's the thing: I thought Ahsoka would at least be a little older. At least the actress. It kind of threw me off guard that they used the same actress in the Battle of Ryloth for the Battle of for the Siege of Mandalore. But again, I think it's pretty good, and Ariana Greenblatt's a pretty solid actress with a promising career. Um, we get Captain Rex, who has the wrong pauldron, but nothing really I nothing really I can fret over. Um, Now, my good friend Star Wars Elseworlds, he did mention, and I do have to agree with him. Of course, this is my opinion, and this is his opinion as well. He thought a lot of this looked pretty cheap, um, and I was gonna agree with him, but I think the big thing is it is the cinematography they're using. I'm not sure if it's creative. It's probably creative. It's probably a creative choice to have all this dust and debris cover whatever. Um, oh, I really like. You can see the Ahsoka clone in the background. Oh, that's really great. And then, of course, we get the nice scene where, if we remember this scene from this pose here, I really liked this part. I still think Ahsoka should have been a little older, but I can't argue against it. Um, but I think it worked out. Like, this is pretty good looking. Again, when I watched this on my TV, I couldn't really notice all the little tinier details. I mean, you have to really pause it to. But again, the whole thing is he keeps reminding her live and die or die. Um, and I'm getting the whole I'm I'm getting the whole thing. I'm just trying to process what relevance does the Clone Wars flashbacks have to do with the whole, like, I had to look this up what his message was trying to come across. And he's trying to say let the past live, let the past die, let it go. She's not responsible for him. And I never got that watching this show. I thought, she was telling her to live. But no, she's actually like giving her the message of letting go of she's not responsible for his turn. Uh we get the scene where Anakin goes Sith. Let me check comments. Yeah, I think the production was pretty good. I think it's all a creative choice. I don't hate it, but let me see, dude. It's my honest opinion. Or that's your spat. Decent episode, though. Again, I'm not done talking about the episode. I might have a more negative stance on it, but um, so as I said, I really just like the lightsaber battles with Dark Anakin and Little Ahsoka, and they continue this battle in I do agree. You know what? I actually agree with Starlight that this is a pretty nice looking episode, but it has really no relevance to the plot. I do like this scene where this part right here when he's charging her as Vader and there's visions and stuff. Hold on. I wonder if I can get like a screenshot of it. Let's see. I kind of felt this was a little over the top. I thought it was kind of being The shadows, again, cinematography a ride and relevant to the story. I thought this was over the top, kind of fanficky. Again, this stuff's for trying to like cater to, it's trying to rub hardcore fans, and it's working for the most part. For me, I was fine with it. I was fine. But you know what? I wasn't feeling what I felt watching. I wasn't feeling what I was feeling watching episode 4 of the show. I really wasn't. I was kind of like, yeah, that's cool and all. That's kind of where it comes up to it. That's cool. Compare, and then when you think about it, it's like, so he taught her a lesson of showing Clone Wars flashbacks. Again, like the whole thing, live or die. And you're trying to think, well, what's that? What's the whole message? What's the message? Like, you find, when I watch this, I think that's where, when you can't understand what message they're trying to convey to you, that's where I think it's a problem. And, it's because I'll say, I thought that this was Anakin saying Ahsoka should just live and let go. Live. You want to live? Live your life. Live your life. Embrace it. But then you realize, well, no. He's basically telling her, oh, yeah, you're not responsible there, sister. All right, so I'm going to give a separate score. Well, I'm going to get into that anything Star Wars, because really my negatives come for the second half of this episode, which I thought, I'll save it for. But here, I'm going to just say the Hayden Christensen stuff in the Clone Wars flashbacks, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 on its own. I'm going to separate that from the Star Wars episode itself, because for some reason, that's what all people are focusing on in this episode, and it's what they're frothing at the mouth for. It's the Anakin and stuff, and I don't think it was bad. I think on its own, and I agree with Starlight, it was pretty nice. It was okay. But in the essence of the full story, it has no relevance whatsoever, and it's just filler. It's good filler, but it's just filler. On its own, it's good. It's very good. So I give it an 8 out of 10. Now let's get into the positives, if I should put positives lightly. The thing I think people forget about this episode is everything else that happens, because I was laughing unironically at this whole everything after when Ahsoka wakes up and becomes Ahsoka the White. And again, I was thinking she was like told to live life and stuff, and she's all smiling and happy now. That I was like, I didn't really know what to say. I was laughing unironically. It didn't help that the music had like a gospel. The way the music was in this episode, it had to have been a Filoni choice, but there's like a angelic and I was like, I couldn't take it seriously. I was just laughing at it unironically. It was coming off as very hokey, and then not to mention Mon Mothma's like, oh well, you're going to go under investigation. The Senate. You have no evidence of this fraud. This is where this is where I think the shows think people are stupid. Okay, let's hold on. Let's stop it. Stop it right there. Stop it. That was not the message I read, Starlight. It was about letting go of the past. That's the message I thought was direct. It wasn't. It was about letting go of the past. And I'm like, where does he? So it's live and let go. Again, let me stop it. Let me stop back and go back a couple episodes. I think the politicians in the show, this is the anti Andor, where everyone is dumb as shit. Not everyone, not minus characters. I'm talking about politician, political characters. They're cartoonish. They're buffoonish. Like like you're watching an episode again. It's Clone Wars and Rebels. It's run by Dave Filoni, so it's the anti Andor where everything's kind of treated more cartoonishly. And I think I do agree with anything Star Wars and Marvel. Mon Mothma telling Hera that she will be removed as general is totally out of character. And even then, the whole Senate committee thing, uh, that that in itself, it's cartoonish, and that kind of adds to this show's woes because now the Republic's gonna like arrest Hera for I don't for God knows what, investigating Thrawn. I'm actually oh okay. I'm gonna read some comments. The episode. I said the episode was amazing. Sorry if I offended you. I wasn't trying to insult you or your opinion. I thought the episode was amazing. Yes, Mon Moth, I do agree with you on that. It's okay, man. I was just pointing out nothing against you, your opinion. Also, I loved your sequel fan host. Thank you. We need to have a comedy show where the New Republic joins Snoke, help build thousands of Death Star this the first Star Destroyers. That's the way politicians act in this show, Starlight. It's probably gonna exactly be what happens. Um, so everything, the rest of this episode, for me, I felt it was corny and schlocky. If you don't know what schlocky is, the space whales in the Republic coming to arrest them, the cartoonish moments, and then of course the biggest issue I have with this, the biggest issue, and I generally thought she was going to grab rope and hog tie him like she was riding them in the movie Dune. Have you guys seen the movie Dune? She's gonna ride the space whales all the way to the other galaxy. They did, but not the way I thought they were gonna do it. Yeehaw! Yippee-ki-yay! This is where my main negatives come in because this shit is so hokey and corny, and the way the music was, woohoo! Yeehaw! This was, in my opinion, corny and schlocky. Again, I was kind of just laughing. I was hoping for God she wasn't going to get rope and go, let's go. They went into the whale's mouth. And, that's not as bad. But, I don't know the idea of space whales. So that, let me go back to the comment. Let me go back to a comment that I saw. It felt to have a episode close to George Lucas's era of Star Wars besides anything else. Wrong. Most of this stuff most of the stuff you saw in this episode was from Rebels, along with some Clone Wars esque flashbacks. The Purrgil are from Filoni. They are nothing. I do not think George Lucas came up with them. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Did George Lucas come up with these space whales? Space whales, George Lucas. I'm Space whales. It hurts my brain. I mean, we saw him in Mando, but the way this episode treated them was just so. Ugh, it was so. I feel like I was watching Leia in space with the space whales and the plot that went into them. It is so, and the way. Oh, and Ahsoka's last line saying, "Well, what was Ahsoka's last line?" It was so stupid. It was episode 5 scripts. Again, I think people are not focusing on this part of the show. This is the part. This is the part of the episode I had an issue with. Oh, she's like, "You're certain they know where Sabine was taken? I have no idea. What? No idea. We'll just see where it goes. It could go anywhere." That is not good writing right there. That's stupid. I hope they make a Jedi's Finn movie. Yeah. Finn could get redemption. I don't think they will. I think they're only doing one of those Ray movies. There's a meme on Nicholas Domini with shooting stars memes with the space. Basically, yes, you can meme the shit out of this. So yeah, they go to the other galaxy, Thrawn's galaxy, too, with the space whales, and they don't know where the hell they're going. It's like we don't need roads in Back to the Future. All right. So what's my? That was my opinion. I'm gonna give this episode and 7. It's not the best. I don't think it goes anywhere near George Lucas Star Wars' era, as anything says. But you're welcome to think that way. Um, I don't think the Anakin stuff was bad fan service anyway, but I kind of felt like the stuff there was some fan service directness to it. You know, the whole Clone Wars flashbacks. I feel like there was maybe a choice to do it that way to get people's hypes up, but I don't think they were unnecessary though. They're not like I didn't feel they were nostalgia bait, uh, but surprisingly not nostalgia bait. But no, the rest of this episode was pretty mid, in my opinion. That's how I feel. But yeah, I'm gonna give the Hayden. I am gonna give the Hayden only. I'm gonna give this a. I give the Hayden stuff only a 8.5 out of 10. It's a high, but I think the bar they will need to pass the bar that is episode 4. I really wish. I really hope uh Dave Filoni. I think the hokey stuff in this episode was pretty much Dave Filoni. Sorry, I know people love him, but He still needs to work on his directing chops. Although his the directing of the flashbacks was pretty well done. Uh, I still think episode 4 is the best of this show. I don't know if it'll be surpassed. We'll have to see. But the way again, I praised episode 4. I was taken aback how good that episode was. Episode 4, best episode of the season. But that is my thoughts on episode 4 and 5. What are your predictions for the finale of the Ahsoka show besides Fran's return? I think Sabine will learn the Force. It's actually a good question. I do think Thrawn is going to win the show, and it's going to lead into the so-called Heir to the Empire movie. I'm really hoping they get the. I'm really hoping they're gonna really push to get the original trilogy crew, deep CGI recast, whatever, back into it. Because I cannot accept anything else of Luke Skywalker has to be the one to defeat Thrawn and end all this conflict. And then they can do those dumbass lead-ins into the Last Jedi backstory, whatever. They're already doing that with Mando's season, or it was the Book of Boobaloo, I think. Boobaloo. But I agree it's not perfect, but it's solid. I think it was good. Good is good or okay. It's a good answer. Absolutely. I hope they have a Sith army led by Thrawn or a Dark Jedi army. Um, yeah, I think so. I think so too. It felt like old Star Wars because of the flashbacks from the Clone Wars. Before Disney brought Star Wars, George Lucas, others saw Star Wars and go, yes, I know that, but you could also say the same thing for the original trilogy stuff. If you remember The Force Awakens, how they brought back Han Solo and stuff, people thought Star Wars was back. I've heard this before. You can't just say something's back because you see something that's memorable or you remember there. That's that's kind of where I feel like Star Wars is good at manipulating people. The I will say that the flashbacks in this episode they weren't fan bait. They were just right. So there was that. But I think the big thing that they do is they use nostalgia as a goodwill to pull you in when you realize that this whole show is just mediocre. They did this with Luke Skywalker in Mando season 2. They did this somewhat with Darth. Well, no, they didn't do it with Darth Vader in Kenobi. No, that whole show they got Kenobi and Darth Vader. That's self-explanatory, but that whole show was a mess. That and people gave it a pass because Hayden Christensen was in the final episode as Vader. I was people were crying watching the final episode of Vader when I was just face palming. I'm like, what? Why am I watching this Kenobi show? And then the Book of Boba Fett, where they brought Luke Skywalker again, but they just they used him as a tent pole to bring back Grogu. Again, they will do this. They will continue to do this. But this episode, this wasn't just nostalgia bait. This wasn't nostalgia bait. It was kind of an interesting thing that they could have done for anything with Ahsoka, but they chose to do it in this show because it doesn't really have like any connection to the main story, but it does kind of serve in her arc, which is where I think it makes sense. But it doesn't. you could argue it's like a filler that doesn't need to be in this show. However, because it's earned and it's needed, you can give it a pass. And I do not think it is George Lucas Star Wars. Uh, if I do not agree with that just yet. Uh, I still there will never be. I went blah, 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 blah. The flashbacks to the Clone Wars stuff felt like old Star Wars. You can have that vibe with. Yes, I don't necessarily think. Yeah, I was. No, blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying that the flashbacks, even though they were kind of pointless in the message it was trying to do, I think the message itself was part of Ahsoka's arc. Um, but so I give it that. I don't, but I still don't think it's. I don't think George Lucas was. Again, people are focusing on the Clone Wars stuff rather than the other stuff I have problems with in this episode. Now, my fear for this show going forward. All right, Starlight, we need to have a talk. Dave Filoni's Star Wars is the same as Disney Star Wars. People have said the same thing about Jon Favreau. Look what Jon Favreau did with the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian. And guess who helped him with that? Dave Filoni. So please, I'm glad. Don't think that. It's just it's just advice. Don't think that. It's the same stuff. It is still Disney Star Wars. Disney Star Wars. It is not different. It's still standalone. But now to so I will do another Ahsoka review. I'm gonna review 2 episodes. These 2 episodes improve the show slightly, especially episode 4. Hopefully, the show. Right now, I still think the show is a 6, maybe a 7 out of 10. Those first few episodes suck. And if the next episode of Ahsoka goes back to being bland and boring, I'm going to be disappointed. So. All right. Okay. You rephrased that. That's good. That's good. You understand. I'm glad you did. So, yeah. I'm going to review, I'll review 6 and 7. How many episodes? How many episodes of Ahsoka? Oh, it'll be 8 episodes. Okay, so we got 3 more left. Okay. So that's good to hear. Now, I still think overall, I think this is pretty. This is it's better. It's not necessarily like improvement. It's an improvement on Mando season 3, but it's at least has a direction it wants to go. So I give it that. Again, I was, people wanted to see my thoughts on this, and I initially wasn't even going to talk about the show, but I was pushed into it. I watched it, surprised. Well, I wasn't surprised by the first few episodes, but surprised now. So. And that's it. Here's a good point, Starlight. Do you think Dave Filoni was trying to copy the way George Lucas filmed? Because the way Dave Filoni done it was boring, just long takes of people talking. It's not just people talking. There were some goofy moments too, like the rock music with. Well, I've already talked about those two episodes. It's boring and adds nothing. But no. But I'm gonna end it here. Uh, Yes. Okay. This is big IQ comment from anything Star Wars and Marvel. I gotta say this. I will say this and I'll point this out. Sabine being force sensitive doesn't make sense because she wasn't force sensitive in Rebels. If Sabine was force sensitive, wouldn't canon have felt it? Exactly. I don't know where this is one plot point I think they pulled out of their ass. At first I thought the show was going to be the Sabine show, but then it became more Ahsoka focused, thank God. But and Sabine surviving that stab wound. Ugh. Oh, he definitely can. He definitely can. Yeah, this here, if Sabine pulls Jedi stuff out of her ass by the end of this episode, gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for joining me. Starlight and anything Star Wars and Marvel. We also got Zimena Altamirano. I think if I didn't butcher your name, sorry. And we got Shadow Fast. Nice pumpkin, my friend. We got Jungle Blazers. And then we got Phil TMNT. How you doing, Phil? Thank you. Thank you, anything Star Wars. Sabine is force sensitive to a point, but can't be more powerful than a Jedi Padawan. I don't. She shouldn't be force sensitive at all. That's my opinion. It's just something I think they pulled out of their ass. So they needed Ahsoka to get an apprentice. So I'm honestly getting tired of Disney Star Wars at this point. Honestly, yeah, they're just spoon feeding you guys. They are spoon feeding you guys too much Star Wars. Us, and they need to take a break. Is Ahsoka a surprise? Kind of. Is it going to get better? We'll see. I do recommend, and I'm going to do a review of it. I'm going to be talking about Netflix's One Piece, which recently got season 2 announced. I'm going to tell I've been saying this for a couple weeks. Hopefully, I'll find time to sit down and talk about One Piece. If people are tired of, definitely people are tired of Star Wars, I would check out that pirate show right now. Like if you got Netflix, go on there and start watching, and then maybe watch the anime, which is a pretty. I love the anime as well. I'm a big fan of the anime. So, but at this point, I'm gonna focus on my Star Wars content stories. At this point, good for you. I gotta have Ahsoka rebuild a new Jedi Order in the unknown regions. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. The One Piece show is amazing, and I love your rants of Star Wars. I know. I know. Some people want a sub from me when I rant about Star Wars, but people just don't understand. Maybe this is just the opinion. I don't want people to. I'm not a preacher telling you the way of Star Wars. I want you all to make your own opinion. Like, give me your opinion in the comments below, and again, I would love. And again, we have open panels, so if you ever want to talk, we're gonna do another open panel probably when Ahsoka's over. I did an open panel last time. No one showed up. So sad, but we'll hopefully try to get a group next time. Mara Jade could be alive. I don't think she's coming to canon. Luke never had a son in Disney Star Wars canon timeline. Luke did have a son. Blah, blah, blah. That's interesting. All right, sorry to wrap it up. I do have to move on, but thank you all for showing up. You all are very supportive, and I will see you on the next Ahsoka chat.
Welcome to Everest Productions.